Yeah, so Ethereum, we're looking at the with the run up here as well, a little bit of a nice little move here. So yesterday, let's just kind of clear this up a little bit. What were we looking at? So we're dropping out of previous day range, and but what we were doing was that we were coming down, and we were. I'll zoom this in a little bit. Right, we had our previous week right here. So this was yesterday morning, right here. We were doing a little dabbling, re-entering the previous week here a little bit. Where did we come down to? We came down to the weekly pivot, right? If I'm not mistaken, should be on there, and it is right here. Okay, 1204. So came down, tagged the weekly pivot, and then got back out of the range, back tested it, broke the VWAP. I mean, a good amount of legs up here. The one thing we were talking about yesterday, where if we were looking for some more upside, was to reclaim daily open. So that obviously took place as well. So that was definitely a trigger if you weren't paying attention at this area. On a 4-hour time frame, even though we did come in and live within this region for a bit on the 15-minute, if you look at the 4-hour, you pretty much just came down, wicked in, right, closed back above, and then took off from there. So that was definitely a nice, essentially just a nice clean breakout of previous week, back test, and then off we went, right? So taking a look at this now in our bigger range that we're in, we were living below the point of control, which is also a really high time frame point of control as well to get over. So right now you're living above that, which is always a good sign. Potentially come back and back test it on a pullback, but we've almost really rotated this whole range in full. The high here comes in at 1271. Do have this gold pocket just overhead. I'm interested to see if we push higher and tag that at least in a short term before getting a decent pullback. I would imagine you're getting a lot of the thing is here too is that even if you're looking at this on the term of like an RSI, we're cooking, right? So you're talking about almost pushing 80 for ETH. So anybody looking at this trying to short, it's one of those times where you could very well be shorting this rise for a bit until it kind of stops. The same thing happened with Solana as well. I have to imagine many people are trying to short that every every pullback they're getting right now, and just getting stopped out after stopped out after stopped out. Anyhow, targets to the upside for me, potentially we turn it around a little bit right here. This is a decent area. This is an area where we come into. This is resistance as well. But to push it up, and we already have technically rotated the range. So I mean, that is something to kind of keep in mind. As far as entering here, probably not the best idea, right? So I mean, at this point, if you hadn't entered yesterday off of some of those areas, or in from lower, you're really just kind of looking for potentially the next short opportunity, or if we get a pullback for the next long, right? So pretty diddling in the middle, so to speak. Next areas for a potential short for me would be to see the reaction at this gold pocket if we get it. And then otherwise, similar with Bitcoin, right? If we kind of just cruise through this region, which a pullback is going to be likely at some point soon, right? Because like I said, we've been, just getting the business here for the last few days. You do have the quarterly level similar to Bitcoin, just below the recent high here. And that does come in like 13.16, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, right here, 13.16. So if you do start clearing this region, 13.16 is definitely, the next major area I'd be paying attention for. This does, almost come up to our high area here. So, I mean, it's definitely something to kind of keep in mind as well. Potentially we come up and actually take these highs, but these would be the next, the stair stepper, so to speak, in that case. So we talked about yesterday, really just, getting super ahead of ourselves. But, if you really start cruising through here, we have the overall golden pocket as well, up at like $1,400, right? So there's definitely some areas above us, but I would imagine a pullback is probably likely here in the next bit. And one of the big things too is that coming up to these areas and getting a decent rejection, you really want to be paying attention to see what the areas are that you don't want to lose. At the moment, coming back down, we got the monthly level that essentially was untapped until yesterday. So the first kind of sign of decent weakness here is going to be coming back down and, getting back below this 1233 essentially. You got the point of control just below that. And then you have a couple of areas, that we could really want to kind of hold on to. Yearly open is one of them, right? So if we start living back below yearly open, very similar to Bitcoin. I imagine the two of them would probably start cruising down to that region together. And that would then, we'd definitely be looking back towards low of the range and then potentially coming down, filling out some of these lower levels once again. Same areas apply. Untapped daily, big one down here at 1,038. Not to overlook the weekly at 1142. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry on that one. I feel like we've been talking about the same. This really wasn't a major move by any means. I mean, this is like a 1 or 2%. I'm sorry, 5%. So that's actually a pretty decent move. Feels like it's 1% at this point. Like the market's just, every day we come on here and it's like we're looking at a pretty nice little pump or a drop, and it's like 2%. So this one actually was a really nice move. Yeah, so want to hold on to 1232. I mean, that's the next area right below us. And otherwise, pay attention for this gold pocket coming in, 1281, 1282-ish. Clear that. And I think a really big area for potential, pullback would be if we don't get through the quarterly key level up here. So 1316 would be the next major one for me. Take a look at Solana and just kind of get an overview on that. Very, similar style here. We had a really nice, just pretty decent impulse move. Every step of the way here, you're getting this, push up and then consolidation. These are really big moves. So like I said, I'm sure a lot of people are getting wrecked trying to short this. This initial move was 50%. Anybody trying to short that got stopped out, right? Next major area yesterday, pushed up to like 73%. Everybody's probably shorting it right below this region right here, pushed up again. So it's up 80% right now, or it made it up to 80%. We do have a gold pocket right here at $15 that I have to imagine most are potentially looking for. So could we get it? Potentially. But in the short term here, point of control is, the major target for me. Gold pocket does come in. This is just a local gold pocket. And I'm just pulling this off of this recent high here. So, I mean, it really just kind of gave a little confluence with all these highs right here where everybody else was shorting from. I'm sure some aggressive shorts came in here, which once again, this is after a substantial drop. So anybody coming in with these, areas, not uncommon to come back up, take that out, and then continue to move lower. So otherwise, clearing the gold pocket, the daily for me is really the area I'd be looking to kind of claim. Once again, still would like to see a pullback before anything. Where we are currently, you got a nice little local gold pocket from the low to high coming in at this weekly level here, back down to like $9.99, $10 essentially. And that really starts for me if we start losing this 1326. I'm sorry, 1310, I think it is. Yeah. So 1310, get that loss, back test. I would say that, we're probably coming back down, revisiting some of these areas. Definitely, not something I'd be buying into by any means at the moment. Same thing if you're looking at an RSI, I mean, super overbought. Not that it can't continue though, right? So that's the thing. I think everybody's looking at, trying to catch this on a short. There was a lot of longs though, a lot of longs. I think don't quote me because I didn't check into it, but somebody said there was like almost 2 billion in longs, or something kind of outrageous. So definitely a lot of money to be shook up if this just turns around and comes back lower. So otherwise, you still got a nice little slew of targets up here. I just don't know if we're going to see these quite yet, right? Because like I said, it's potentially we come up here, take the highs, meet the gold pocket. That'd be a nice technical target. Just kind of get a little reversal from, bring it all the way back down to this region. That would be a substantial drop, 30%. Kind of clear the board a little bit, and then maybe take it up from there. But otherwise, still kind of looking over time, potentially down here to 631. Then you got the overall global point of control down here at 281 as well. So these are the areas I'd be looking for Solana. So right now I'd let it cool off, see how things kind of settle. I did notice that potentially, at least I took a small short just to test it, because I know that they removed Solana from Bybit as far as on the perpetual contracts to be able to short. But I was able to do one last night just to test it out, short and long. So, I don't know if they just added it back or not.
Is that isolated or margin though?
Yeah, it was isolated. Yep.
Huh.
Yeah, it definitely was gone. It was gone, like you said, because I did check into it, like a month ago when you said
they sent
that.
emails out and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if they re-added it, but I mean, and maybe that's something, a little risky to get into, because if they're just going to be, dropping you off. But yeah, definitely able to short it, I guess, on Bybit and long. So I'm not to say that you should only short, but I bring that up for the ability to kind of look at and note that there's definitely some big trades happening on Solana, right? So not only on Binance anymore, because they did only have it on Binance for a bit as far as a leverage would go. But yeah, I think that's about all I really have today. Just a little bit of an update there. We've kind of been covering the areas and the levels, and now we're coming into them. That's usually how it goes, right? Kind of get the plan, the strategies in place. Unfortunately, it's one of those times right this moment where we're kind of in the middle of a move, so to speak. So you could be just kind of have to strategize your play here, right? So yesterday was a really nice day, kind of like how Magic was saying. We were doing some hunting. This was a really nice play on Ethereum to get that back test off of the previous week, right? So it took a little bit of time to decipher, but that was definitely the play. Then you had the new day open, right? Boom, got the small back test off of that as well, right? Not a back test, but launched essentially from it. So claim the VWAP, day open, and off we went. So really, really nice price action. So at the moment, bounce off again. VWAP still hanging tight, hanging over the 0.5 fib. I think we might, challenge up into this gold pocket at least and stop everybody out. But that's not something I would be willing to enter at this moment if you're not already in a position. So $30 moves. I mean, it is a decent little couple percenter, but I'd be looking more so for potential shorts up at these highs if you get it, or start losing some of these areas, come back below the weekly, things of that nature.